More Californians out of work say they are struggling to get answers from the state's Employment Development Department.
We've heard from so many people these last 2 days especially who have called the department hundreds of times and have not received many answers. So a new hotline was opened this week to help with the call volume, but people who've contacted us say it's not made much of a difference. Many say they've gotten through to a live person just a handful of times only to be disconnected or transferred. Governor Newsom has not addressed the call volume in the past 2 days, but we do have someone here now who can answer those questions.
And joining us now is a spokesperson for EDD, and that's Lori Levy. And Lori, we've had you on last week, and it's good to have you on again today because, as Edie just mentioned a moment ago, we keep getting these questions from our viewers who say they cannot get through right now. Please explain what's happening, because as we've reported, there's supposed to be a hotline running 7 days a week from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. Why can't people get an actual person when they call?
I think obviously with the help of the governor and our labor agency secretary, we've been able to expand a lot of the resources that we do have here at EDD to be able to provide the assistance that so many people out there need. And the call center, the additional call center line, is just one of them that did open up yesterday. It is available 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. And it's designed to help people with the most commonly answered or asked questions that we're getting, and then reserve our other line for a lot of the claim filing that people really need to contact to a representative about. And what we're finding is that a lot of people are calling and they probably really don't have to. For the most part, most people can get their questions answered and can go online to submit their inquiries and their claims. And we have some really helpful frequently asked questions on our website that's probably answering a lot of the questions that we're hearing so far. So yes, there's a ton of people who are calling. We're getting a record number of calls and inquiries. We continue on a daily basis to bolster that support that we've got on our call center line. So, hang in there with us. It's evolving daily, and we're working just as quickly as we can to help folks.
Okay, but Lori, let me just follow up and clarify something, because you were talking about some of the more frequently asked questions, people being able to just get those answered on the phone line. What we're hearing from people is that they just hear an endless loop, that they actually get no type of interaction with anyone or even a recording at all. Just this constant recording message telling them where they've called. Can you explain that?
Sure. I think a lot of people think that they have to talk to a representative, and there really should actually be a small percentage of claimants that actually have to talk to somebody. Most people can get their questions answered through the frequently asked questions that we put on our website. So that's what I'm really hoping that people can take from all of this. For instance, one of the most commonly asked questions we get is that I got a notice that says $0 award available, and that doesn't necessarily mean you've been denied benefits. We have a really great FAQ, frequently asked question on our website that answers that specific question and tells you what to do. It could be something to do that we can't verify your identity. It could be something that you have been misclassified. You believe that there should be earnings there for you as an employee, and the notice tells you what you can do to correct those wages. Or it could be that you're a self-employed individual and have not contributed to the insurance program on your behalf. And those are the folks who are going to be setting up with that new pandemic unemployment assistance program starting next week.
So, Lori, we know that you are trying to process right now a historic number of claims. So your office is certainly dealing with massive numbers here. But if you're looking to triage people, some of them would go online. Some of them may be able to be helped by a message or a phone tree. Who is it exactly who should be talking to a live person? What are the cases where that is going to be the case? They need someone to walk them through something.
And first of all, we do, I think there's so many people out there. This is the first time experience for them. They've never had to apply for unemployment insurance before, or it's been many, many years. So we have a lot of resources to help you, because we know there's a ton of people all trying to get in at one time right here. So we've tried to address those most frequently asked questions to help you. Like, for instance, we have a really good step-by-step chart, which helps people understand what to expect after they apply. There's a good UI checklist for understanding what you have to to supply when you apply for benefits. And there's really a small percentage that have some kind of complex eligibility issues that need to talk to a representative. So what we're really hoping is that all those who can self-serve, who have a pretty straightforward claim that should be able to go online, self-serving with no issues, that they can do so, and then really help us free up those phone lines for all those individuals with more complex eligibility issues where they have to talk to a representative.
Okay, Lori, well, let's get to some of the questions that we're getting directly from our viewers. And this is from Gary. Gary's actually from Van Nuys, California. He's well out of our viewing area, but it gives you an example of the kind of challenges that people say they've been having in trying to reach someone with EDD. And Gary says, with so many people out of work, why not hire them and use them as customer service reps for EDD? That might make it easier for people to connect. What do you think of Gary's idea there?
Well, thank you, Gary. But I will say that we're doing a number of things, including hiring people, exactly that. So we've been redirecting hundreds of staff and continue to do so on a daily basis to all kinds of things that we're providing here in terms of service to those Californians in need. So it's new employees, it's redirected employees, it's recent retirees, it's those from throughout state government with some unemployment insurance background, and even some call center experienced employees from the private sector that we are working to bring on. So all of that is being done, and it's happening on a daily basis. So hang in there with us.
Lori, just to clear up the hours of this hotline, Randy says, I call EDD, get through just to find out or find a recording there that their hours are 8 until noon. We've been reporting it's 8 until 8, 7 days a week. So let's talk about that, and also the exact number of people you have brought in to answer additional calls.
The governor was talking about 1,340 people that we've been redirecting to assist us with a lot of this call center activity and that help that we need to process claims. So all that is occurring, or we're training individuals, getting them equipment, helping them get on the lines. So all that is occurring. And, again, we just, there is 2 different call numbers. And that's why I kind of want to clarify for people. We're putting up some clarification too on our website. So I encourage you to check there. But there is the normal 1-800-300 number that is for like claim filing. There's a brand new number, and it's 1-800-333 number that is for really those frequently asked questions, those kind of things that we have got people trained to be able to help you with. It's like helping you reset your password, or it's maybe getting your EDD customer account number, or helping to navigate some of the technical problems or assistance that you need in getting through the UI online system. So that's really a helpful line. It is available Monday through 7 days a week, I should say, Saturday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's there as a resource for you to help answer those commonly asked questions.
So, Lori, if someone is getting this message, this recording that the hours are 8 until noon, have they called a different line? Should they be calling somewhere else?
Yes, they're probably calling the original line, which we reserve for claim filing with experienced representatives. So they should be calling the additional, the new line, the other line. And I believe that number is 833-978 2511. Again, 978-2511. It is available on our COVID-19 webpage just to help people out. But again, that's the number that's been established starting yesterday to assist people with those commonly asked questions and assistance in kind of navigating the UI online system.
And Lori, just really quickly, any chance you can expand those hours as you're able to hire more people? Because it sounds like if they're reaching that message, that people aren't able to reach a live person on the line that's established to do just that.
Well, we actually have to kind of take our system in the evening hours and push over everything that's been processed for payment, a very important step in getting people the money that they so desperately need. So we really do have to reserve some of those late evening hours for that service. So that's so all important.
Okay, Lori, I just want to make sure I'm understanding something correctly, so please tell me if I'm wrong. But
Sure.
this hotline number that you just gave out that we've been reporting on now for quite a number of days, you're telling me that if you call that, you should not expect to actually get a live person, that is really the call for only those frequently asked questions. Is that correct?
No, actually, there'll be live representatives there. Again, we're kind of adding to that every day so that we have people there ready to answer questions for people. But no, that is a secondary call center that we have staffed, again, with a lot of redirected employees helping us out with this effort. So if you can't get through, you will get some messages there. But again, this is the number that we're setting up and continuing to staff. So hang in there with us. We're trying to help you with as much assistance as we can, while also reminding you that sometimes those frequently asked questions are already right there available for you online, so you don't have to try to get through on the phone.
Lori, tons of questions about that additional $600 per week that people are now expecting to see in their unemployment benefit. I know you've already started that, so let's talk about when those checks started going out and when people can expect to see that money.
Well, unemployment benefits are made on a biweekly cycle. So it's once you kind of get your claim established, then you have to continue to certify to EDD every 2 weeks that you remain unemployed and otherwise eligible. And then those checks arrive on about every 2 weeks, or not checks, but it's actually payments. Most people are beginning and posted to an EDD debit card. So that's the situation where you can continue to understand that that's the process you must go through. And then those continuing payments are made. And for right now, through March, from March 29th all the way through July, for every week of unemployment benefits that you qualify for, we're able to automatically add the $600 in federal stimulus funds to that amount. So that means you get an additional $1,200 for every biweekly payment you receive in regular benefits.
Okay, Lori, the next question comes from a viewer named Katie. And Katie says, I haven't received any money. I filed on March 21st and my claims say paid. When I filed for unemployment, I said I made $75 per week and they were awarding me $450. But then Katie says, now they're penalizing me $75. Why? Do you have can you understand what she's talking about there? And can you maybe explain that?
You know, I wish I could. I'd have to really kind of look at the situation and look at some claim records. So much of our unemployment insurance program really, unfortunately, is on a case-by-case basis, really according to the particulars of someone's own employment history. So I'm afraid I can't really comment on that one without looking at more of the particulars. But to say that as you apply for unemployment insurance program, you are required to provide to us how much in earnings you are getting from any other source. And then we look at your wage records, because remember, this is a partial wage replacement program. So we do look at your wage records over the last 18 months, and that's what helps substantiate a claimant amount.
Lori, this question from Julie, it really addresses a policy that I know you changed at EDD. She says that she was laid off and EDD says she has to register for work, make a resume. If she doesn't, it may affect her benefits. A lot of people do have jobs to go back to. They just can't work right now. So I know you've changed your policy in terms of that. Let's explain to people, if they're asked if they're looking for work, or if they've made a resume, what should they say?
Well, you know, we just cannot go in and make some permanent changes to a program that has to exist for many, many years. So because of the unique situation that we're in now, we have been able to make some adjustments in our usual eligibility requirements. So you will not be penalized for answering on a form that says, I am not looking for work right now. As long as you meet all other eligibility requirements for that week, that will not prevent you from getting paid benefits for that week.
So for someone like Julie who may have applied before that rule change, should she reapply?
Oh, no. Once you apply, your claim is good for a year-long period. So I think it could be that didn't prevent her from getting a claim and issued. If there was any other issues, I don't know in her particular case. But I'm talking about once you get into that ongoing benefit process, every 2 weeks you're asked to certify to the EDD. And don't worry about that question looking for work. That's one we take care of on the back end.
Okay.
Carrie says, when someone gets approved, the amount they will be getting, it turns into questions. Why all of a sudden are they then disqualified? What's the next step in fixing that? Can you explain there a little bit more about how someone might get disqualified after answering the questions?
Well, it typically means that, and again, I'm so sorry, it's usually on a case by case basis, so I can't necessarily for any particular situation. But what you're asked every 2 weeks to answer is, are you able and available? In other words, are you ready to return to that employer once things pick back up again? If you're sick, that's something we have to actually work with you on that could disqualify you from benefits for that week, for example. That's just one of the scenarios. So when you answer those questions, it just helps us to understand whether or not your situation continues as is and you're eligible for that benefit payment every 2 weeks.
I think this one is really interesting from Julia, talking about the number of claims that you have right now, historic numbers. She wants to know if the EDD will run out of money as the number of claims grow. And she's specifically looking at the surge coming up on April 28th when you open claims for the self-employed and the gig economy workers. And there's a whole bunch of workers now who are suddenly able to qualify when they didn't before.
Well, yes, exactly. Good question. First of all, there is the regular unemployment insurance program and the brand new pandemic unemployment assistance program that we are building right now at record speed. And yes, that will go ahead and get some further benefits being paid out, and it could actually rival the size of a regular UI program. So all that's true. But I will tell you that who pays for unemployment benefits are employers, and usually they contribute to the trust fund on behalf of each employee on their payroll. Now, if you happen to run out of the money that's sitting in our trust fund, we do have the authority to borrow from the federal government. And the point is that all benefits will continue to be paid to anyone who's eligible. It just might differ in terms of who's picking up that tab for that moment. So we are prepared to borrow from the federal government. That's what happened for about 36 states, including California, in the last recession. So we have been able to prepare for that.
Okay, Lori, the next one comes from Dawn, and Dawn says she's told us 4 times to ask you this question, so I hope you're watching, Dawn, because I'm doing it. So she had a question about being disqualified as well, and she said that she's heard from a lot of people that she knows where it's a problem within the system, the EDD system, where it's disqualifying people, and then it tells you to speak with a representative because you've been disqualified, but then, of course, they run into that problem where they can't ever actually get through to anybody. So what can someone like Dawn do then?
That's what I'm talking about. There might be some people who have to talk to a representative, but for the most part, most people really don't. They can self-serve and they don't have to actually talk to somebody. So I'm really hoping that with all the information that we continually update on our website, that'll help people so you don't have to go to their phones, and we can hopefully clear some of those lines for these individuals who may have to talk with somebody to clear up an issue they may have on their claim. It could be an eligibility issue. It could be something from a prior claim, some kind of statement penalty, that kind of thing. And those are the things that we do have to work through individually on a case-by-case basis. But for the most part, most Californians are going to be able to go pretty clean through. We've been able to automate our processing to handle large volumes of claims, and most Californians should still be able to see about 3 weeks between the time that they apply for benefits until the time they get that first payment. The issues there, the exceptions, are those in which we cannot verify that person's identity. That will take some extra back and forth, or the information we get from you doesn't match the wage records that we have. And that's another issue we have to work with you on.
Well, Lori, I have to tell you, we don't get a lot of calls or notes from people who say everything went super smoothly. Everything just went great. So we get the people, of course, who are having troubles. One from Ashley that I think does probably speak to a lot of situations. Unemployed from a full-time job, now working part-time at another. How does unemployment work for that situation?
Again, you have to go ahead and report to us any wages that you are earning, any earnings that you have. But if you are unemployed, in other words, you normally work this many hours, and for right now you can't work that many hours because of no fault of your own through this crisis, then certainly you could be eligible. You'll just have to go ahead and report to us any wages you are earning, and a certain amount of those wages could be deducted from your unemployment benefit if that's what happens. Again, that's kind of on a case-by-case basis. But I will tell you, and I know you do hear from a lot of the folks who are having some issues, and we're doing everything we can to help each and every Californian. But I will say that we have processed more than 2.7 million unemployment claims in just 4 weeks. We'll update that number again on Thursday. But to give you a good comparison for context, during the height of the last recession in 1 month period, we processed 375,000 unemployment insurance claims. So we have got a system that's a huge workhorse. We've got thousands of people really making a difference for a lot of unemployed Californians out there, and we continue to work very hard to get to everyone.
Lori, I had one more viewer question I wanted to get to because I thought it was a good one from Lynette. And Lynette says that she exhausted her unemployment benefits at the end of 2018 because of a company closure. She started a new job at the beginning of this year, but now her hours have been cut in half because of COVID-19. So when she tries to log into her account, it says her benefits have been exhausted. What kind of options might there be for someone like Lynette?
Well, it sounds like she may have gone past her benefit year of that first claim. Anytime you file a claim, it's good for a year. And then whether or not you've collected everything to deal with that claim or not, it's over. So it could be that she has to apply for a new claim. And it may also be that this is going to be dependent upon is she missing wages? This is a wage replacement program. Is she missing wages from this current job? And then does she have enough wages in her last 18 months to substantiate a payment amount? So again, that's one of those case-by-case basis that we can kind of work with you on individually.
All right, Lori Levy with the EDD, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We know you're busy, and thanks to your whole team for the work that you are doing. And we want to give the numbers out to get a hold of the EDD, and you can see them there on your screen. The first is 866-333-4606. The second, 833-978-2511.